From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, it's an all-mic mailbag, pondering what seems to be an easy but then complex decision. Does everything of late fall on the defense? Can they respond? And we're generating discussion, sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. warchantbogo, your promo code, buy one, get one free. Buy energy, buy benefits, but not the kind of benefits that your employer matches. The benefits you need to get through your day more efficiently, more effectively, like a better mood, better focus. Get that done with one little shot, not even 2 fluid ounces. Get you that energy you need, as well as the body-nourishing vitamins, synergistically formulated to deliver, everybody. It's Vitamin Energy. It's clinically tested, clinically proven. It is award-winning as well. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, buy one, get one free. Noles behind the operation, too, so that matters to a lot of people. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source. We're out there grinding. Went to the press conference on Monday. We'll be back out there later today speaking to a TBD assistant coach. Sometimes they let us know on Monday who we're going to get. Like last week, they told us that we were going to get Thompson on Tuesday, but we don't know who we're going to get later today. But check out warchant.com. Corey will be there giving you a full blow-by-blow of what's being said. Then afterwards, you can check out Seminole headlines. It's all part of the warchant.com family umbrella, as well as Coach Speak. So come subscribe, hit the thumbs up, rate and review. Corey, how are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I need to come by and start scoping out the new podcast space you have and offer some technical expertise, advice, purchasing, and then I can't wait. But I'm fine. Just a little.
Well, hey, you know what? You're invited.
Okay.
You're invited. You want to come over this week and do it?
I'm probably getting out of Dodge on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But I'll be back next week during those bye-week interviews. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll do this off air.
Okay.
We'll do it offline. A little bit overwhelmed with the Renegade Express mailbag we're about to uncork on the people here. There's a lot. I forgot to lock it in time. A lot of, there's some positivity in here.
A lot of people kind of happy with what's going on, not asking about change or anything.
A couple people are remaining heady and level-headed, so we'll try to sprinkle it in. But any kind of big takeaways from Monday's press conference? Our guy Sunrise Noel, who, by the way, won the over-under contest last week.
There we go.
Was asking about what's gone on with Tony White's defense. Feels like the offense has been good enough to win games, but the defense is blowing it. Is he distracted by the UCLA job, or is the talent just not good enough? Feel like Mike spent the better half of that nearly 5-minute opening statement really lamenting the defense. And then when I asked Gus on somebody pointed out to me on Sunday when I asked Gus about Mike talking about application not being up to snuff. Yeah. Basically, like, we're practicing well, but we're not doing that in the games. Gus goes like, are you talking about the offense? I didn't think it was anything, and I thought it was totally innocuous when somebody was like, that was him telling you, like, the offense is doing their part. It's probably the other side of the ball you need to look at. Mike spent a lot of his time talking about the defense. So is that the biggest singular thing as we look at a granular micro level fix for this program right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think if you just look at the sheer numbers, if the defense had just played pretty well in their 4 big games, they would have lost one of them. They lost to Miami. Like, the offense was to blame for the Miami game. The defense was too, but the offense had 3 points going into the fourth quarter. That's not Tony White's fault. All the other ones kind of are. You scored 35 on the road in regulation. You should win that game. You score they scored 31 in that game at home. You should win that game. So the defense is the issue. So I get why Gus. I don't think he was pushing back, but I think he was saying is that because I thought you asked Gus more of an overall overarching program type question.
Right. Which
and
it was.
He didn't know if you were asking about the offense in particular because that's all he's in charge of. Yeah. And he made that very clear. He's like, I'm just worried about the offense. I can only control the offense. It's like, well, we got you, man. Good job. You scored 30 again. We like it. But I think if you just look at this season pragmatically, if they had a good defense, if they weren't averaging giving up whatever it is, 36 36 in their 3 ACC games. They'd be 2-1 in the ACC. They'd be 5-1 overall. They'd be 12th, 13th in the country. But they're not. And I don't think that means that Tony White is a bad football coach. I don't think he's been great against Virginia. I don't like that. Like I just don't like. Ira points it out to me. If you guys go back and watch a play, and this is where it doesn't. We can blame the players all we want. Like Elijah Herring, that's a bad matchup to try to cover Desmond Reed. It just is. That is a tough matchup for Elijah Herring. He does things well. Covering guys like that out in the flat isn't one of them.
But that said, though, Corey, like you're putting him out on the field, and you have to realize that's a possibility.
No, this
right?
is my point. This was my point.
Sorry.
So if you watch that play on that touchdown, the Pitt quarterback takes the ball, stares at Desmond Reed the whole time.
Just waiting.
Watches him run the wheel route the whole time. He sees the matchup. The safety on that side of the field is not looking at Mason Heichel's eyes. He does not understand that there is a mismatch with their best player on your slowest linebacker or one of the slowest linebackers. It's like it doesn't occur to him, and I can't remember who the safety was. It doesn't occur to him to cheat over there and to watch the play. Like if you're just watching the quarterback the whole time and watching the play develop and you have any sort of football sense, you realize they're probably going to throw it to Desmond Reed in that spot. Why aren't you over the top? Now, I'm not saying it was his fault. That might not have been his responsibility. And they did, for whatever reason, think that they should cover Elijah Herring should cover him towards the sideline. But that to me is where you can blame Tony White. Either the safety made a mistake or the defense was fallible. Either way, it's on him to fix that and clean that up and understand, as Norvell said on Monday, like when there are mismatches, you've got to have ways to counteract that. Like not every call is a perfect call. There are going to be vulnerabilities. They have to know what the vulnerabilities are. And in that instance, obviously, their best player on your linebacker is an unbelievable mismatch in their favor. You know they're going to try to do it. The quarterbacks make it abundantly clear. He's not looking off the safety. He's not looking off anything. From the time he catches the ball, he's looking at that route being run the whole time. And that safety never makes a move over towards the sideline where the throw gets completed for, I think it was a touchdown. It was down the
first
sideline.
half, I think, right?
Yeah, so that's just bad. That's bad coaching. Whether it's whether he's coached to do that or not, get your safety over there. Because there's no world where Elijah Herring is going to cover Desmond Reed. There's none. You have to have somebody out. You have to have a linebacker out there, though. Until the second half, I guess they started putting DBs on him. Well, maybe you should have thought of that before the game. They never even tried to run the ball. Like their whole offense, their whole running game was getting him out in the flat or getting him matched up with your linebackers, and you didn't adjust. All that said, I do think Tony White knows what he's doing. I don't think it's a good matchup, this roster with his scheme. That's kind of the deal when you're first year. He didn't get a chance to really bring in a lot of his own guys. And let's be honest, the guys he brought in on defense out of the portal were who? Elijah Herring, okay. James Williams, nope.
That's your guy, though. Stephon Thompson, that's your guy.
Yeah, right. Stephen Thompson, though, has been banged up and has not been much of a factor.
And he's been hurt a lot of his career, too.
Yeah.
He's the thing
right.
signing up for.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying he's unblameable for the guys he brought in, but those are the pieces they brought in on defense. Just kind of nothing that has stood out.
Yeah, then Diamante Diggs, DeAndre McCray.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody that's stood out. Nobody that's an all-conference performer, nobody that's going to get any votes as an all-conference performer, except maybe Jerry Wilson. Jerry Wilson's been fine. But, he got beat for a touchdown against Miami. That kid's going to beat a lot of guys for touchdowns. I think Jerry's been fine. Everybody else, though, that they brought in out of the portal for that side of the ball has been woefully short of expectations of what Tony White needs to have a good defense. Also, he can coach them better. They both exist, right?
Yeah. It just feels like, some of the stuff that Mike was talking about echoed what Tony talked about on Sunday in terms of, simplifying it, letting them play faster. Mike's like, we need to be fast and physical, which, like, I guess if that just becomes the overarching, we're not going to try to be overly technical or overly exotic or overly confusing in terms of what we're going to look like. We just want to get to the ball really fast and be angry when we get there. Like that's a step in the right direction, obviously, but it feels a little bit like, we're going to move this coach from the booth down to the field, or we're going to move him from the field up to the booth. Like, it feels like we're in this part of the evacuation manual when it's like, all right, it's week 7 of the season. Let's like not scrap everything, Corey, but like let's pare it down and make it much more easier to, I guess, absorb and then execute. Which, listen, they got to do something, but like it's not I don't know if you really want to hear that in week 7. Like, it turns out we try to be a little overly ambitious. It's like, well, man, like.
But you got to do something. You can't just say, "Hey, we're confident in everything we're doing."
Yeah,
you got to say, especially on defense. Like, I understand where Norvell kind of wants to stay the course as the program, because as he rightly points out, man, I know y'all don't want to hear it. They are 3 one-score losses, and even if you say Miami was nonsense because they were down by 25 points, the other 2 were one-score losses. They could have literally gone either way. One went to double overtime. They're not that far away from being 5-1. But this defense is really far away from being a good defense. So you absolutely have to say you're at least trying some things. And you have to try to at least say that you have a plan to fix it in season, other than just saying, well, we are what we are. We're going to run what we're going to run, and let's hope they don't have good running backs that we can't tackle or cover. Because the last 2, well, Miami, you did all right, but Virginia and Pitt, their running backs killed you. And, hey, if they have a quarterback that can move at all, we're done. Can't defend it.
Stanford
doesn't.
Defend it. Stanford doesn't. They've got Drew Bledsoe reincarnate, and he's not accurate. Terribly.
Well, thank
accurate.
God. That's what this defense needs. Well, I'm sure he might get hurt on the first play, and they just run the Wildcat the rest of the game, and the guy's going to run for 400 yards. Mobile quarterbacks, Florida State has no answer. A lot of that, though, again, it's not like Tony White's never faced mobile quarterbacks. It's not like you don't know they're going to have an impact with their legs. When you have linemen that get out of their lanes, that's on coaching, but you have linebackers that just can't run, can't be athletically gifted enough to play with a mobile quarterback, there is a ceiling you're hitting. So I'm not trying to excuse that they can't wrap up or they can't tackle quarterbacks, but they're not gifted they're not good at linebacker. They're not good in that front 7. They're not all that athletic, and they're not twitchy. And they don't make much of an impact, or they haven't yet. So, but they still got half the season left. What I thought was interesting, though, Aslan.
Please.
I don't know, man. I'm just a sucker for the guy. Watching him talk about how much it means to him, I really do believe him. Like, I really do believe it matters to him. And he really does feel anguish and frustration and disappointment because he's losing at Florida State. And it makes me pull for him. It really does. I think it's genuine. I might be wrong. He might be a charlatan. I don't think so.
No, he's a mostly likable human being, yes.
He's a likable person. Yeah. He is a normal person for a head football coach, a head college football coach. He's about as normal as you're going to find. He's kind. I think he's kind-hearted. I think he understands the gravity of the position and what comes with it. And I think he desperately wants to win here. And it's not working out for him right now. But on Monday, again, I'm sitting there thinking, gosh dang it, Mike, just go win 4 or 5 more games. So get you some solid footing so you can come back next year. I know I'm probably alone in that. It's a small bus I'm on when it comes to wanting Norvell to come back. But I would love for him to turn this thing around this season and get a chance to have a really good season next season, because I do think it really does matter to him. And I do think he is a nice person. I think he is a good ambassador for this university. But, man, if you don't win games, who gives a flip? And when you're 1-10 in your last 11, I don't care if you're Father Teresa. You're not going to win. You're not going to get to coach the team much longer at a place like Florida State. So he understands the pressure. That's clear. He said all the right things on Monday. But he's got to go win football games. He's just got to.
Let me ask you this, Corey. Some of the discourse around bringing in somebody like James Franklin, if you were to let go of Norvell, or bringing in Jimbo, is that you could get them like at a really nice price point. And we've got a question here about the economics. How can Florida State afford like all the stuff that they're doing? I think if you told Jimbo Fisher, we'll give you $3 million a year to be the head football coach of Florida State, does he run to the Moore Center, or does he hang up the phone? Because I do wonder, to your point, like he cares. I think he values this job. He realizes how special it is. He wants to be successful here. He wants to deliver championships to this place. Like, can you go back to him after he did his kind of good faith effort? Like, I'll take a pay cut in 2025 to help pay off some of this stuff.
You're talking when you say he, obviously you're talking about Norvell now,
right? Yeah, sorry, Norvell, took a bit of a pay cut this year to help fund either roster acquisitions or assistant coach turnover. Like, can you go back to him again and be like, listen, if you want this job, we're going to pay you $3 million a year. That's it. Or we'll fire you. You'll get all your money, and you'll have very little dignity left. Or you can be the head coach here. We're going to give you reduced salary. Turn it around. It'll be all incentive-laden base, right? Like, make the ACC championship game, we'll give you a $2 million bonus. Win it, we'll give you another $1 million off of that. Win a playoff game, we'll give you a 1.5. I wonder if that's going to enter the dialogue between either Michael Alford and Peter Collins and Jimmy Sexton and Mike Norvell, because I do believe you, man. Like, he wants to get things done. He wants to get it fixed here, but it feels like he's going to have to do something pretty unprecedented to make that happen. Yeah.
Look, I agree. I was thinking about that earlier on Monday, right after we were done with him. I was like, man, you hear all the time in the NFL, or at least you used to, they might not allow it anymore, where these guys would restructure their contracts. Tom Brady was forever restructuring his contract so they could go sign other players. Now, he still got paid a ton, but he was allowed to restructure it. Clearly, if they went to Mike Norvell and was like, look, here are the two options. You're going to be, let's say they finish 7-5.
Yeah.
So that means, again, I just want to put this in perspective. That really means they went 5-5 after 2-10, after 1-10. So he's 6-16 in his last 22 FBS football games. That's awful. So if Florida State were to say, you know what, we do believe in him. And I want to bring this up. I was thinking about this too. I'm old enough to remember when Mike Krzyzewski was on the hot seat at Duke. I was not paying attention to college basketball hirings and firings when I was in elementary school. But I do remember Duke not being good. And it was after he had been there for 4 or 5. He had taken over a team that went to the Final Four. After year 5, they got blown out by 40 points in the ACC tournament by Virginia in the first round, missed the NCAA tournament for the second or third straight year. And all Duke fans wanted him gone, all of them. And the AD believed in Mike Krzyzewski. He believed in him. And he's like, no, but you're staying here. The next year he signed the class. They had Johnny Dawkins and Jay Billis, and then a year later they were in the Final Four. I'm not saying Mike Norvell is Mike Krzyzewski. But for whatever reason, that AD believed in Mike Krzyzewski. He did not let outside noise pressure him into making what would have been a disastrous firing. How much does the administration believe in this head coach? Because there is no rule.
Yeah.
What?
I think a lot, man. I think he's listen to Jeff's show, though. The money people might have some doubts, backbreaking loss to Pitt, but I think the administration wants him to work and believes that it can.
So, and if you believe that he is the right person for the job, if you believe in it, in your heart, well, that's kind of what you're getting paid for, is to make those decisions. So if Michael Alford and Peter Collins and McCullough, the president, all believe that Norvell should be leading the football program, and they believe in his long-term vision, even if it's not like we can't afford to fire him, it's more like, I think he's about to turn it around. I think they're about to go on a run. I think he's made of the right stuff. And I think he's gone through this really up and down, tumultuous landscape of college football and everything that's been shifting under his feet for the last 5 or 6 years. And now, theoretically, there's supposed to be some solid footing when it comes to rosters and NIL and portals and all that I think we got a guy that can lead us into the future. If you truly believe that, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of this season. He's going to be your head coach. If you lose to Stanford, he's staying in California. We all get that. But if you think he's the right head coach and you think he's the right guy to lead this program in 2026, then stand on it. At the same time, you absolutely could go to him and say, we want you to be the head coach. We desperately think we really do think you're the right person for the job. We think next year when you bring all these guys back and you bring this staff back and you have another year of all you guys in place, you're set up for a nice run. We cannot pay you $10 million to do it. So either we fire you, which we don't want to do, or you take a pay cut.
Significant.
To be the head coach of Florida State. He probably wouldn't do it Jimmy Sexton would clearly advise against it, but there is no union. There's no coaches union where he wouldn't be allowed to do that. And it would become, and I'm not even saying this is an option. I'm entertaining something that might not even be an option. But if it were, if he said, yes, I will, as Ira wrote in the 3-2-1, like, I
awesome
think there is
job,
a new
by
world.
the way. Sorry.
You know,
We pumped the subscription to warchant.com. It's things like Corey's post-game column from this past Saturday and Ira's 3-2-1 that just like makes the whole year worth it. Go read it, everybody. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, it's really good. In there, and I'm not going to give it away, pay your $1 for the first week and get your membership at warchant.com. But he does talk about how there might be a new world order, and I do think it's coming with these coaching salaries, where nobody's going to – it makes no sense to pay a coach $11 million a year.
Until Cignetti or Rule gets paid $11 million to leave to go to Penn State.
Even then, though, man, it's just dumb.
It is.
You know how many major league managers make over $5 million a year? None. Major League Baseball managers. NFL coaches, well, I don't know if we know the salaries on that, but NBA, there's only like a handful that make more than $10 million a year. It's the players, stupid. They're the ones that dictate and decide these games. So paying Mike Norvell $10 million is foolish. We all see that now. Paying Mike Norvell $3.5 million and spending the other $6.5 million to upgrade his roster, okay. I think there's a faction of the fan base that could get behind that. Unless, again, he loses to Stanford. Then forget everything I've said. He's not a nice person. He isn't likable. And he just needs to stay in California. But, yeah, so it's a fair point, Aslan. I know we got a lot of questions to get to, but there's that legitimately could be a talking point. And I think all schools around the country should do it. Like, this is insane. And it has been insane for a long time. But now that players are getting paid too, it is absolutely ludicrous that college coaches are getting paid $10 or $11 million. It would be like, so who's the most important player on the Florida State football team? Is it Tommy, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Let's say he's, I don't know. The numbers I've heard are somewhere around 1,800,000, somewhere around that. He's the most important player on the team. He dictates winning and losing. By the way, again, just commendable the way he played after getting hurt on the first play. Why in the world would your head coach make 10 times the amount of money as your starting quarterback? Translate that to the NFL. That would mean Andy Reid is making, $400 million? And Patrick Mahomes makes 3 times, 4 times as much money as his head coach because Patrick Mahomes is that much more valuable. Andy Reid's a good coach. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert. Like, you pay the guys that win the games, and players win the games. So much more money needs to be directed towards getting yourself a great roster and not paying head coaches who clearly, if they don't have the right players, aren't supermen. They aren't magicians. They don't win games. So quit doing it. So maybe at the end of the season, depending on how it goes, there is a conversation where we don't want to fire him and pay him $48 million to not coach, but we absolutely don't want to waste $10.2 million of our resources to pay him to be the coach next year. So let's see if he restructures it. I also think if he restructures it, he gains some fans again. He gains some goodwill. Now, another 3-game losing streak in 26, which I know all of you guys are thinking right now is an absolute probability, not even a possibility. Nobody's going to care. But in the short term, it might be something to think about.
We're going to pick up this conversation, but we got to show respect to the folks who keep the show running, our local sponsors, folks like Bill over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and Leanne over at the Ace Hardware in Crawfordville, Florida. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, home of Trivia Night, the best trivia night in Tallahassee, Florida. Goes down 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. Corey Clark, I don't know if Corey is going to be there this week, though, everybody, which is bittersweet because
we won last week.
Did you? All right. Yeah, the door's open to be a winner. If Corey and his big brain isn't there.
That's right. That's right.
Starts at 7 o'clock tonight. Go check it out. You can also have some delicious dinner as well because everything on that menu is delicious. There will not be a happy hour meet and greet this week because the Noles are on the road. But Corey and I will actually be part of a huge all-hands-on-deck in-game. We're bringing the watch-along back, everybody. So Gene Williams and Tom Lang are going to steer you through most of it, but then Corey and I will step in third quarter and offer some thoughts. Wish I was there at the corner pocket with you folks. So watching it late into the evening. I mean, that they might go up to last call on the 2-minute timeout during that game, but always keep in mind the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, best place to watch a game if you're in Tallahassee. CPTallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. It is Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Question from FSU Robert, and this picks up where we left off, Corey, just about, I don't even know how feasible, legal it is to quote unquote, buy your roster. It felt like with the House settlement, all these schools are going to have whatever $20 million a year to pay all their student athletes. And most of it was going to go towards football, like somewhere between 15 to 18 million of it. And then every single year it's going to go up 3% or whatever. But there's still going to be the NIL component. There's the clearinghouse. So yeah, you can, try to quote unquote buy players, but you're going to have to show a real business expense that aligns with market value. So you can't say we're going to give this kid $2 million to come shake hands at our car dealership 2 times this season. They're going to be like, they're going to shoot that down. So I don't know how much of that is still going to be part of the equation moving forward. The reason Texas Tech keeps getting talked about is they realized there was this one last kind of moment. The window was shutting. This is the last time you can front load your contracts, get kids on campus late 2024, early 2025, and then go for it all this season, and then you'll deal with it afterwards. But FSU Robert says he's a vehement Norvell supporter, but the season is making it abundantly clear he's not the man for the job. With this ridiculous buyout, would it be a better spend to force the team into competitiveness with roster money until we're in the Power 2? Would 2 to 3 years of the best quarterback, handful of elite linemen, still be cheaper and better for the program than the buyout? Then once you're in the Power 2 conference, you could let him go much cheaper and have a coach search unencumbered with conference uncertainty. What do the buyout versus roster money economics have to look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, Aslan's right. Like, again, theoretically, it's supposed to be a limit that everybody's working under. I don't know that in theory, I don't think in practice it's going to work out that way, but in theory it does. And there's going to be rampant cheating, which, fine, I welcome those days back where we didn't know these guys were getting paid this much money. But yeah, I just think it does not need to be a rash decision. It is not, this is not an easy one. I know for you guys it is an easy decision. Fire him. He can't win. I get it. And as we sit here in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, I'm with you. But then what if he wins 4 of the next 5? You're still not going to be sold on him. But does it make sense to fire a guy that went 8-4? Or 7-5 after going 2-10. That's a 5-game improvement, right? So next year they're going to win 12 games if you keep that current trajectory. And so the powers that be have to figure out what makes the most sense. And also, don't just go fire him if you don't have somebody locked and loaded. Don't then have to go on a search and get turned down by 4 other people and get fat contract raises at guys at other schools. If you do this, if you already have somebody that's agreed, is my opinion. Because it is true. Like, if you got Norvell, a great quarterback, and 2 NFL receivers, and let's say 4 NFL players on the defense, 4 to 6, I don't know what that would cost, but let's just work with me here. Do we think he's such a bad coach that he would screw it up? Because the last time he had a team full of NFL players, they went 13-0. So I get that side of it too, but that has to be part of the thinking. It can't just be so single focused on, well, they've lost this many games in a row, so obviously he can't coach. Well, he's proven he can coach at multiple places. Is he the right coach? It would not appear, right? It does not look like he's the guy.
Right.
I think that's being kind. after the disaster of the last 18 months. But, again, I want to reiterate, we are sitting here now after a 3-game losing streak. There is a good chance that in 3 weeks they'll have won 2 games in a row. They will be 5-3. And if they win at Clemson, they are going to be ranked. Now, that's not what the expectation here. That's not the standard. But 6-3, that's not the end of the world. We were all hoping for 8 wins when the season started. We can't now shift the goalpost back and say he's got to be fired now when the season's not over yet. But I understand it. It is frustration. And it's not just frustration, right, Aslan? It's more like what's next year going to look like? What's the year after that going to look like? Isn't it time to just rip the Band-Aid off? I completely agree with that sentiment, too. I know I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but this is the real me, everyone. I legit don't know what the right thing to do is. I legitimately don't know. When you got him an NFL quarterback, 2 ridiculously good NFL defensive ends, a good NFL corner, line of scrimmage was okay, NFL running back, 2 NFL receivers, an NFL tight end. Weirdly, he went 13-0. Now he doesn't have any of that, and they're struggling. But that's also his fault.
It is.
That's his fault too. So, but if you could and just snap your fingers and give this guy, let's say, like Miami's roster, or I don't know, man, Texas A&M's roster, do we think they'd be struggling, or would he be better? So how much is it him? How much it is the players? How much is him impacting the fact that they can't get any players? I'm just saying it's such a multi-layered, complicated, complex question. It can't just be straight wins and losses. It can't. Only because of the way the sport is the way it's structured now. When you do get to pay for a roster, and you get unlimited coaching sizes, and you get this and that. There is an avenue for him to be your head coach and win a lot of football games. Nobody believes he can do it right now with good reason. And it's going to be very complicated. Unless, again, as I reiterate, you lose at 1:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, you walk off that field in Palo Alto with another L, it is not complicated at all. It is over. You have lost this team again, which means you have officially lost the program. Right now, there is still a little bit of hope that you can have a decent season. If you lose to Stanford, you're done. You're done. Like, literally not like let's play out the string. I mean, you're done that night. So don't lose to Stanford.
Is this program fixed if they win 8 games, though, Corey? Like, I try to kind of ask Mike that on Monday.
Yeah.
Because
go
ahead. Sorry.
But I guess I would say, what does fixed look like? Like
being competitive for the playoff in November, man. Like that was a successful season. Remember, that was a question we kept getting asked.
Yes.
In May, June, July. I'm like, just be in the playoff hunt in November, brother. We didn't even hit Halloween. We didn't even hit Columbus Day.
Got to October though. It's better than last year when they were in September.
So
no, I get what you're saying,
and I know what you're saying too. Like before the season, 8 wins is like, all right, we'll probably keep him. I don't know if we were like, we're definitely going to keep him, but we'll probably end up keeping him. But then you see the way the losses happen, and that's something that you guys pointed out in headlines like 10, 12 years ago. Like everyone's good with 10-2 to start the season, but then you lose the 2 games and you get really pissed off, and it's doubly as bad when it's 8-4. It feels like.
So yeah, I just think. I think the people that make these decisions have to be clear-minded. They have to not be rash. I don't think they're rash people. They have to look at all angles. And no, the program is not fixed. But what is fixed? Was Miami fixed last year? They lost. They didn't get to the playoff. They didn't even get to Charlotte. And they had the number 1 pick in the draft.
I know, but they weren't coming off a 2-10 season saying that we got this thing. I'm going to get this thing figured out immediately. That.
Yeah. Well, the point being, like, they're better now than they were then. I thought that was a 1 year. We got Cam Ward, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And then they lost some wide receivers. I didn't think they were going to be this. I didn't think Carson Beck was going to be this. So.
Imagine they got that Mendoza kid. Sorry, imagine they got that Mendoza kid that's in Indiana. Like,
but then does he work in Gus's offense?
No, I'm talking about Miami. I'm talking about like Miami.
Oh,
imagine
yeah,
if they would have got him because
yeah.
I think he's probably better than Carson Beck. So we're lucky that we dodged that bullet. But continue.
Yeah,
sorry.
he threw a horrible pick 6 in that game against Oregon. But other than that, he was really good. And I just can't get over how good Indiana's defense is. That's insane. But I guess I would say no, it's not fixed. I don't know what that looks like anymore because I do know that they beat a team that's going to go to the playoff probably. They lost by 6 to another team that should be number 1 in the country. And their other losses were by 3 points and 3 points, 1 in double overtime. So they are very competitive. Very competitive. Now they lose, those count too. But it's not like they're that far away. Literally, Aslan, they're not that far away from being 5-1 and number 9 in the country.
Yeah.
Like literally a handful of plays. So do you look at it like that? Like, man, this thing is so close. They're so close. Or another L, another L, another L. I'm done with them. That's why you have people that get paid to make these decisions. Because I do think they are close. I know they are not in the playoff hunt. But I do think they were very, very close these last 3 weeks to winning 2 of those 3 games. And again, as I said going into the Virginia game, I don't care if you win these games by a point. If you win those 2 games, you were 5-1, and you were, like whatever I said, 11, 12, 13th in the country. Maybe higher than that because you got the win over Alabama. And your only loss is a 6-pointer to Miami. So you would be right there in the conversation. That's how close you were. Last year, you were a joke. This year, you're not a joke, but your record is your record. So I get all that, too. That's why I know it sounds like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. I get positive about the guy. And then I talk, I'm like, well, shut up, man. You've lost 8 straight conference games. I don't care if you lose them all on Hail Marys. You lost 8 straight conference games. So, again, that's why I just want to see how this thing finishes up this season. And then we can reassess. But I do think, again, if you finish on a nice run, and he brought up 2022 when he was talking to us on Monday about how they had that skid there and then turned it around. None of us think that's going to happen again, but we'll see. If you turn this around and have a nice finish to the season, and you bring the vast majority of the offense back, the skilled people, I mean, you have Danzy a year older, you have Cromall, you have Boggs, you have Tommy if he wants to stay and is healthy, Deuce maybe if he wants to stay, Pittman. Like that is an elite offense that you're bringing back intact with an offensive coordinator that just won 8 games. And then if you give some money to the guy on the defensive side, I think you feel pretty darn good about what you got next year. Or you might blow it up and start it all over. And the good news is when you do that now, in this day and age, as we've seen countless examples of it, it can be a very, very, very quick fix. You go hire the right guy, bring in the right coaches, and give him the right players, it can be an immediate fix. And, I'm sure after year 6, people aren't looking for year 7 to be more of a rebuild. They want something new if this thing doesn't turn around immediately.
Let's do a little bundle Rooski, Corey.
Bundle Rooski.
Bundle Rooski. Let's get some of these questions that are fairly adjacent to one another answered. Hayden Walton, wake up, fellow Noles. Even with the loss, at least we can say we're still FSU. As you guys mentioned on Monday, great game for Fitzy and the Panthers.
That's right.
We got a lot of questions about, like, is there a magic number for Norvell holding on to his job here? So Hayden says, what are the key win totals for this season as a whole to determine Mike's future? Example, if they go 6-7 or worse, he's 100% fired. If they win 7, they're 7-6, 50% chance of firing. If they end up going 10-3, there's a 0% chance of firing. Jaronol 1518. Would you keep Norvell for next year if the following conditions were met this year? If they finish 8-4 or better, the second part, if the strong finish is in large part due to promising young players, we'll talk about that later in the pod, Corey. These are good questions, but our guy XDQ004, he's an Omega man. He got boxed out a few weeks ago when he asked one of these bundled questions. We went with somebody else. So these other ones might have been more eloquent, but our guy, he's back. We're going to put his question up on the board, and we're going to have the cameras turned on. Our guy XDQ004 again asks, or rather states, Corey, if I could find the question on my screen.
I'll be honest with you, that looks pretty eloquent to me, Aslan. You made it sound like his wasn't eloquent, but that looks like an eloquent question.
Well, I meant more so like me trying to find my spot on the screen.
Oh, okay, got it.
So XDQ004 says, Corey, I expected us to be where we are. But I can say that though we are 3-3, this is worlds better than last year. This just looks different. It's one of the reasons why I believe that the administration has not considered firing Mike Norvell. My question is, if we finish this year with all the losses being single-digit competitive games, would that be enough for you to want to give him another year? Cameras are on. Give us some juice, Corey, please.
Look at this. Look at this. This is for all of y'all. Just
watch the video, everybody. Corey must have busted out some
the pythons, the 14-inch pythons.
My goodness, man, our guy, he's feeling strong and powerful because Cummins Lifestyle is here. Everybody, give them a follow on Instagram. The Cummins own and line of products. It's portable, reliable power. Whether it's handheld, right, like a portable power station or a portable generator, or it's in your vehicle, whether it's a vessel on the open seas or your RV, you want quiet, reliable power. Cummins has been doing it for over 100 years. I haven't looked at the stock price recently because I just get depressed that I didn't buy it, 2 years ago when we started doing this whole thing. I didn't believe in us, Corey. I didn't believe in ourselves enough.
Yep, you blew it.
But check out Cummins Lifestyle. There's a Nole behind the operation that's supporting us, so we do appreciate it. You don't have to buy anything, just go there. But ultimately, if you need portable power, buy a Cummins generator. So Corey, Hayden's question was really good too, but Hayden's been around only a short time, so I didn't want to box XDQ004 out. I mean, the season feels like it could potentially spiral, but you think about, all right, what if they finish 8-4? Like, what if they just lose to Clemson, win the rest of them out? That would be hard to be like, get rid of this bum. But then you start thinking about, well, if they lose to Wake or if they lose like 3 more games, like what is the lines, the limitations, do you think? And I guess to Derek's point there, if everything is competitive, is that enough to make you want to run it back?
No, it's not enough, but I think it comes into the I think it comes into the calculus of whether you're going to fire him or not. Like, look, right now, Aslan, you could make a genuine case that Florida State is probably 3 or 4 plays from being 5-1. Jerry Wilson intercepts the pass at Virginia. Deuce actually holds on to the ball the first time against Virginia in double overtime. Maybe he doesn't get hurt on that 4-yard screen pass that he caught in the first half against Pitt. A lot of Deuce things, but if you're literally 3 or 4 plays away, maybe you could make the argument you're 2 plays away from being 5-1. So it can never just be about. It can't just be a simple black and white number. It really does matter, like what it looks like. If you go and win, if you lose to Clemson 31-30 because you fumbled 5 times, or they do something crazy, they hit a Hail Mary, and you lose to Florida because something else crazy happens, and you literally go like 7-5, and all 5 losses are by 1 score. I don't know, man. That to me, that says you're 9 plays away from being 10 or 11 wins and in the playoffs. So you are close. So if you want to look at it that way, the other way to look at it is like there shouldn't be a world where the Pitt game is coming down to 1 play. The Virginia game, you have more talent. You spend a lot more money than they do. That game should not come down to 1 play. If y'all had been ready to play to start the game, it wouldn't have come down to some play in double overtime. So there are multitude ways to look at this. I do think the team is much, much better than it was last year. I think it's improved greatly. I think it does look different. It couldn't look any worse. I think the offense is coached well, even though it has some limitations. And it's hard to know what Tony White is because he doesn't. That defense has some limitations. So, yes, I could see. I could not see them going like 4-8 in all 8 games or 1-loss games, and you get to keep your job. But I could see them going 7-5 in all games or 1-loss games, and you get to keep your job. 1 possession games, 1-score losses, 1 possession games. If you lose 5 times and they're all within a touchdown, I mean, you could see where you're like, okay, if we could bring these guys back intact and they could, go from losing big or losing small to winning small, all of a sudden you're looking at what could be a fun season next year.
Kind of reminds me of Scott Frost a little bit. I was listening to you with one ear, but I was putting both my eyes on my screen. So he was 5-22 in 1 possession games, 1-score games in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Now, that's a much bigger sample size than the 2 games that we're talking about this season. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, if they lose a one possession game in Raleigh and Clemson and in Gainesville, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we'll look at it. I can see a world, to your point, Corey, where you're like, man, just if Tommy's healthy, if he's a little more durable this time around next year or whatever, a little more comfortable, maybe he's protecting himself a little better, then like, let's go for it. But
or
to me,
how about this, Aslan? What if Tommy does get hurt against Wake and Sperry has to come in and he plays the last 4 or 5 games of the season and has some freshman moments, but looks like the future? But you lose at Florida 31-28. You lose at Clemson 29-26 or something, but he looks good in the process. Is that enough for you? Because I feel like Florida did that with their hotshot freshman quarterback last year, and that didn't work out for them at all.
Yeah.
But, there are so many ways this season could go, even more than just if they win or lose the game. I know I'm kind of couching it or qualifying. I don't care. It does matter how it looks. It matters how it looks. You can't just go, if you're just going to go straight wins and losses in L's, well, he needs to be gone now. It's 8 straight ACC losses. It just is. But there are reasons, and they are much better than they were last year. And if that matters to the people that make these decisions, then if he could find a way to win some of these games and not go 4-8, because again, like I say, if he goes 4-8, it doesn't matter if he loses all of the next 5 by 1 point. He's done. But if you go 7-5 and all 5 of your losses are close losses, well, and then you compare that to what you were last year, well, then that's a huge upgrade. It's a huge improvement. It's just not where you want to be,
though, right? Corey,
I know.
Last year was so easy to improve upon, right? Like
correct. He set himself up so low that it wasn't even a bar to clear at all.
Which is, again, like that's from yesterday. That's what makes like what Signetti's doing that much more impressive. Is that yeah, I mean, what he inherited to do what he did last year is incredible. But like, yeah, there was nowhere to go but up. But you felt like they hit their head on a ceiling. But he's like, nope, I've found an extra gear. Yeah, I mean, I get you're right, man. Like there is nuance to this, but I don't think I'd be in the camp that would say like they're one possession games. Let's give them some more time. Like I'm reasonable. Like if they go 5 and if they finish 8-4, it would be hard for me to come on this show and be really sincere and honest and be like, they got to get rid of this guy. Like I think that's reasonable, man. They go 8-4, you finish 5-1 on the season, even if it's a loss to Clemson or even a loss in Gainesville to an interim staff, that would sting.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, all right, man, I get it. Again, to our earlier point in the show, if he takes maybe a little bit of a price reduction again on his salary, then, man, if they lose 2 more, I mean, I know that sounds crazy. Well, 1 more, 2 more, like what's such a big deal, Aslan? But because
what if the second one is on a Hail Mary?
Well, man, again, you've found ways to not win one possession games. You've done things to make yourself be in so many one possession games.
Well, and I would say this too.
You should have pulled away from Virginia.
Yeah.
You should have pulled away from Pitt if you were a good team.
Right. Right. And you can make those arguments till you're blue in the face. I think most college football losses these days are probably going to be one possession games. So that's not just a good excuse to keep someone. And I do think that also, we're not talking about year 2. We're talking about year 6, and we're talking about coming off 2-10. So you don't get any benefit of the doubt anymore. And while I would agree that if you go 7-5 or 6-6, and all those losses are one possession games, you literally could pick a play here, and here, and you're like, man, we're 8 plays away from being in the playoff. It's like, okay, but you didn't make those plays, and you're coming off 2-10, and you have no benefit of the doubt. It's done. You just don't. So. And there's no guarantee that you're going to all of a sudden start winning these games next year. That's the issue. There's no guarantee that it gets better just because you were close. There isn't. So, but we're not going to have to worry about Aslan because they're going to win out, and they're going to be like the fashion pick to get the playoffs after they rip off these next 6 straight wins. And get to 9-3 with a win over Alabama, and you just point to that little gap and say, hey, we only lost to Pitt because our whole starting offense was out. The committee puts them in there with a 9-3 record.
If Disney or Pixar did an animated movie with a generator, a Cummins own generator, it would have to be voiced by Corey because he's reliable and he's been doing this thing for a long time.
Amen.
Not maybe 100 years, but he knows what he's talking about.
I look it. Except with these guns.
Check it out on Instagram, Cummins Lifestyle. It's all one word. Give it a follow. Well, moving along now, we go to Renegade Spear 143, wake up. I love listening to y'all. What do you think our win total would be had we gotten a Squirrel White caliber linebacker out of the portal instead of Squirrel? I think the Alabama game is more of a toss-up because you don't get that big catch, but I think we would have beat Pittsburgh and Virginia with a better linebacker. This is assuming a Squirrel-level linebacker could cover a running back out of the backfield and hit his gaps well to stop the run. Would you trade those two losses for wins if it meant we lost Alabama? Ooh, complex question. Thank you so much. Stay strong. There's still a lot of football to be played, and I believe in our coaches. All right, there you go, Mike. There you go, Mike.
Positive.
You got people in the corner.
When he says Squirrel White, I assume he's talking about like the money that was spent probably to bring in something like Squirrel.
Yeah. Your resource allocation, was it best spent on doing that as opposed to maybe addressing linebacker a little bit better?
As we sit here halfway through the season, no. Squirrel White has had 12 yards of receiving since that catch against Alabama. That was one play. Now, he's been hurt. I'm not blaming. It's not. And when he's been open, the quarterback has thrown it into the sun. So that's not all on Squirrel White. But, no, he has not had an impact at all, certainly not for the amount of money he's getting, which I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing it's more than Caleb Lavallee, who hasn't played a down, the linebacker transfer from North Carolina, and Stephon Thompson and Elijah Herring just haven't made great impacts. So, yes, they should have. I honestly think you probably still beat Alabama without the Squirrel catch. But either way, in hindsight, yes, they should have spent that money on a defensive player. I just think, and I said it at the time, and it made sense, right? We talked about this all offseason, Aslan. The sole goal of the offseason, or the main goal by a wide margin, was get the offense fixed. Because the offense was an abomination. Yeah. It was literally the worst offense in 50 years in school since Bowden was before Bowden was there. Like the Mooger winless year was the only other offense that compared to what we watched last year. So you had to do everything in your power to bring in real players, real proven players, and proven OC and spend money on that side of the ball. You had to. And in a way, it's worked out, right? Like you have a good offense. You're top 5 in the country in scoring. I think you're number 3 in total offense in the country. When last year you were 130th. So those are, and I know there's a couple of easy games sprinkled in there, but they're not all easy. And you put up 30 on all of them except Miami. So the offense has been worlds better. But yes, in hindsight, you needed, and I don't even know if it's a linebacker or if it's a somebody else in the front seven. You just needed to make better acquisitions with on the defensive side of the ball. So yes, I would think that would have been money better spent. Would have been, and also, hey, if you could recruit linemen at all over the last 5 years, you wouldn't have had to go and buy 4 of them.
Yep,
really 5 of them because you had to go buy Richie last year. So if you could have developed, recruited, and evaluated any high school lineman over the last half effing decade, you could have saved some money on that front and gone and gotten some better players on defense. So, and unless something happens here in the next 6 weeks, you're probably going to have to go buy a whole new offensive line again next year because the recruiting at that position or the evaluation or maybe just the development has been brutal. So, yes. But to answer the question, way too long, they absolutely, in hindsight, should have spent more money on the defense. Whether we talk about Squirrel or one of the other guys, Sawchuk, who I like, money would have been better spent on that side of the ball.
It's Brad that we met at the CP the other day, Corey. Noles _no_1. Noles number 1.
All right.
Do you guys believe it would be best if we just sent 5 or 6 on every play defensively? And if they hit a long play on us, at least it gives the offense the ball back and we get more possessions instead of an 8-minute drive. It will also keep our defense fresher, even if they are sorry.
That's true.
I like our chances in a shootout more than I do having the game shortened by long drives and 4th down conversions.
Yeah, man, it is crazy the amount of long drives they've given up. Like 10 play, 12 play, 15 play, and the tone was set on the first drive of the season. It's tough for your offense when you get the ball back with it was 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, and you're already down, and you haven't had the ball yet. That's tough to live. So, yes, I think they should be more aggressive because if you're going to give up points either way, make it be quick. You're right. Let their defense get tired because they have to be on the field the whole time because your offense is always on the field. And you are going to create some more turnovers that way, some more takeaway opportunities. And, yes, you're going to give up more big plays, but it's like, has that mattered? You gave up plenty of big plays the last 2 games anyway. Like Virginia, I don't feel like had a ton of big plays, right? They just had a bunch of 12-yard plays and 7-yard plays over and over and over again. But these last 2 weeks, Miami and Pitt, that's how they made their living. 40-yard plays in the middle of the field. Some for touchdowns, some deep in your territory. But it has been – I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Like the thinking you're going to stop them and force a punt, just get that out of your head. That ain't happening. Not against good teams anyway. Hopefully these next 2 weeks you'll have – or at least next week. I think Wake is actually pretty good. Stanford, you should force some punts. But, yeah, I would think moving forward, when you're playing Clemson, when you're playing at NC State, yeah, don't let them have the ball for, 21, 22 minutes of the first half. Go get the ball back, either by a takeaway or after they kick off. Go get the ball back. I'm all for it. Yeah, let's get into the 50s.
Mid-season is upon us. You've seen the games. You know the depth charts. Let's go make some winning picks. Let's do it over at Underdog. Underdog Fantasy Sports makes it easy and accessible from your mobile device. Make higher or lower player picks on things like longest reception, total yards, or touchdown scored. Just be sure to pick a player on the opposing team if you want to make 2 or more picks in the same game. So like if you want to be all about the Noles, you're going to have to throw in something from Stanford if you pick 2 things on the Florida State side. Hit submit and then root your guys on or implore the other side to suck to hit the lower. Underdog also has one of the more friendly injury insurance policies in the game where they'll void a leg of your pick'em due to injury but not your whole sheet. See what happened to me last week when Deuce went down and Randy Pittman didn't even play. They just took it off the sheet and still paid me out on the winning picks that I had. Download the app today and sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Corey, I need you to pick a number 1 through 6.
2.
Okay. We go to random_John. Good morning, Azon and Corey. I apologize for creating long reads on the air as I add a lot of context. So today, no context, just questions. And apologies, I have a few. He's got 6. So we're going to do the second one. And I have no idea what it is, so let's just go to it. As Norvell has never put a priority on recruiting, can we really keep him? It's year 6. We only have 1 left tackle and linebackers who don't know how to linebacker. Do you want to?
Oh, is that the question? I thought there was more coming.
Do you want to? Well, there's 6 of them. We're not reading all 6. I mean, what's that going to do to the show? We read 6 questions from somebody. What are we doing?
Sorry. Yeah.
Do you want to punt on that one? You want me to pull another one out of the bag? You want me to read all 6 of them and you can pick the one you like the best?
No, do one more. Do one more.
Let's see here. Sorry, everybody. At this point, are we building a championship program? How about this? Why do any coordinators or position coaches that work for Mike here at Florida State, at least, seem to digress or regress? Tony White did better at Syracuse. Pat Surtain's secondary has forgotten how to cover anyone. David Johnson now teaches the running backs how to fumble once a game. Papuchas, yeah.
So it's just somebody that's upset with Norvell. With good reason. Again, I'm not making fun of you. He's 0-8. He's lost 8 straight conference games. I just think they've been bad the last year and a half.
How about,
Corey?
I
don't think it means he can't coach his assistants.
How about this one? This one's somewhat legitimate. If Norvell stays, how confident are you that key young players, Makai, the Desir twins, Uzmain, Juju, stick around through this season?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think I'm more confident in them staying if he's here, along with their coaches, by the way. I don't know if they care I shouldn't say it like that, but their position coaches and their coordinators being here are a big deal too. Like, why would Makai Danes go somewhere else with the way Gus uses him? I mean, good luck. I mean, the guy's averaging I don't even looked at his numbers. I think he's their leading receiver and their second leading rusher or something like that, or third leading rusher. He's got 5 touchdowns, but something like that, and he's averaging 20-something yards a touch. Like, he's been awesome.
Probably
and Gus
not.
has used him incredibly. Yeah. And then I do think that, like, the Desir twins and Kevin Wynn, they know this coaching staff believes in them. They threw them out on the field in the first drive of the first game of the season. Not Kevin Wynn because he didn't play, but the Desir twins. And Kevin Wynn was out there the first time he could play against Miami on the first drive of the season, or first drive of his season. So there is belief in those guys. I think they do like their coaches. I would be – but if they leave, if Tony White gets fired along with Norvell, and if Gus Malzahn goes somewhere else, I don't know why Croma, Danzy, Boggs, the Desir twins, Shamar Arnaud, Jabril Rawls, like, I don't know that any of them are guaranteed of staying. Like, now you could bring in someone that they really like and is very appealing, and they stay put. That is allowed to happen. But I would say I'm more confident. I would be more confident if Norvell was here that they would stay than the other way around.
Mekhi Danzy, your second leading receiver in terms of yardage, your 4th leading rusher. Yeah.
How many yards?
Price is going up
on
that guy.
What are his numbers?
What
are his numbers?
I X'd off the window, brother.
Good grief. You must have X'd off it in record time.
Well, no, I knew it, stored it in my head, and then I moved off of it.
That's fine.
But with that said, I was able to stall and get back here. So Mekhi's had 8 rushes for 179 yards. So he's netted 168.
Hey, I'm going to do some quick math. So 8 for 168 is 21 yards a rush.
Correct.
Okay.
3 touchdowns
as
well. So he's also getting into the end zone. Receiving-wise, Mekhi's had 16 catches for 330 yards.
So 20 yard, 20.2?
20.6. Good job, though, Corey. Gosh darn. I would have just cried and melted down if somebody would ask me. 2 touchdowns.
This guy's a weapon. So 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
All of them seem like long-ass touchdowns. He's one of the most electrifying players in the country. And Gus is using him really well, and he's becoming more of an actual receiver and not just a dude that runs jet sweeps. Mm-hmm. Like, man, yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to make this comparison, Aslan, and I know it's been a long show already, but this season, this offseason, reminded me a lot, as I look back in hindsight now, of what they did for Willie after his first year. They brought in Kendall Briles. Right. He brought in his O-line coach. Mm-hmm. They tried to make all these adjustments for him. He didn't call plays. They're like, we're going to keep you, but you don't get to call plays. And at the end of the day, he was fired after that Miami game, which was a disaster because Alex Hornibrook was his quarterback. But it's his fault. Didn't ever bring in a quarterback. Oh, and by the way, Jordan Travis was on that team. Watching Hornswoggle get swallowed up by the Miami defense for like 8 or 9 sacks. Just an embarrassment. In an embarrassing performance. But that team, that 2019 team, was clearly better than the 2018 team.
Also lost to a true freshman quarterback making his first start on the road.
Yeah, well, hey, what are you going to do? But either way, that 19 team was better than the 18 team. It was a better offense.
Yes.
It lost games, but they were in more games, I feel like. Blew them out both seasons. But I just felt like that was a better team. They did make improvements. They lost in the rain in Wake Forest. They blew the lead to Boise State. They blew the lead at Virginia. But the year before, they were just getting blown out. They weren't even competitive in some of those games. But that wasn't enough for Willie to keep his job because the Miami loss looked just like losses from the year before. Just not competitive, not in the game, had no answers, and didn't compete, lost 27-10 or whatever it was, and that was a wrap because it looked so much like game 1 of his tenure. Well, I kind of feel like we're here again with Norvell, right? Like they did all these things in the offseason. He fired his 2 coordinators. They brought in new coordinators. This team is a lot better, in my opinion, than the 2024 team. Like I think this team would beat when it was healthy, would beat the 2024 team by 3 or 4 touchdowns. It is that much better than what they had. But at the end of the day, here you are. And that loss against Pitt, a lot like the loss. I mean, you lost to Pitt in 2020 too, in your first year at home. Like we kind of still are where we are, even when you made all these arrangements to try to help him. He's still 3-3. He still can't win an ACC game, and it feels a lot like Taggart in that scenario. But the point I was trying to make, that, again, I just take circuitous routes, my man, a lot of circuitous routes, is that there is a bit of reason for optimism with some of the young players in the program that I don't think was there in 2019. There weren't a lot of guys you're like, you got to keep him on the team. Yeah, I hope he comes back. I do feel like this freshman class and this redshirt freshman class, when you throw in Danzy and Amari Williams, there are some guys that you feel like could be dudes, like real good college football players, that you didn't really have that feeling. Even last year, honestly, going back to last year, you didn't have that feeling after that season. There was nothing to give you hope, and there wasn't anything to give you hope in 2019. I do think the one difference is there is hope here. You do trust Malzahn. Malzahn is better than Kendall Briles. I think Tony White is better than Harlan Barnett. Like, I think you've made up – you do have, I think, a pretty good coaching staff in place, and I think you've got some young talent you could be genuinely excited about. But it's the same head coach, and he can't win conference games. So there again, I did it again. Both sides of the fence, everyone.
Also, I don't know. I mean, you had like Marvin Wilson coming back on defense, Corey Durden. You had Tamorian Terry that was going to be coming back. Trey McKitty was okay. DJ Matthews. I mean, DJ Matthews had 36 catches for 355 and 3 touchdowns. Not incredible. I mean, and Mekhi should surpass that. But, what Tamorian Terry did, you're like, all right, man. Like,
hasn't Mekhi already surpassed that?
Yeah. Touche.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you do feel better about the piece they had, but we could delude ourselves, I think, into anything.
Yes, right. Right. Yeah, and also I would say this: Willie didn't have the benefit of just being able to go buy guys out of the portal.
Correct. Like
Norvell has had. So I'm not trying to besmirch Willie. Just that, yeah, man, he was fired for doing a lot. He was fired for a lot less than what Norvell still has a job for.
Last one, long one, comes from corporate, though. Our friends over at Cummins. Shout out again. Remember, everybody, follow them on Instagram, Cummins Lifestyle. Am I delusional to consider this year one? I read Corey's column. The stats made me want to hurl, but let's take a look at it like this. Last year's 2-10 season saw us overhaul the coaching staff at every major on-field spot except the head guy. Isn't that essentially a wipe of the board and a start over? If this were a year one scenario, would we be so up in arms about how the season is going, or would we be relying on the old Bobby adage? Lose big, lose small, win small, and then you start to win big. Couldn't it be said that this is a complete rebuild where we are in the lose small period? Or are we in a place in college football where we have to look at things through a season-to-season lens, especially when almost your entire starting roster and coaching staff is a complete refresh? I may be in the minority here, but this feels much more like a year one scenario than a year 6 of the same old grind. It is hard to put aside the lack of high school recruiting. I get that. But the new staff seems to already be paying off in that regard. Can't we give them another year to see what they can put together? Even if we need to make a change, who the heck would even be happy hiring? Or who would we be even happy hiring? We wouldn't be able to afford a high-end coach.
I got a guy.
We wouldn't be able to afford a high-end coach. We would be forced to take a flyer on a young up-and-comer, right? Are we really ready for that roller coaster again?
All fair points, man. And I do agree. You can't argue with how much better the offense is. It has been a revelation.
They're fun.
It has been
They're fun to watch. Yeah, it's fun to watch.
But also, again, it's not that I think they're the best offense in the country. Again, they got some stats padded because of those 2 games after Alabama. But they are so much better than what we saw last year. It's like a different sport. There have been huge improvements and gains there. The defense, not so much. The defense is averaging, what was the score? Was it 35-35 against Virginia going to overtime, I think?
Yeah.
So in 3 ACC games, they've given up 34, 28, and 35 points. And I guess if you want to include the next 11 that Virginia got, you can. But just in regulation, they're giving up like 32 points per game. Last year, they gave up 28. So they've gotten worse. Well, that's not great. That's not ideal. But I understand the point. Like, again, that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show. If you believe in this head coach and you just look at 2024 as a complete anomaly, and you look at his tenure as like, okay, he's going to have some dips. We know that. But when it's good, it's really good. And other than the 4-game nonsense losing streak the year after COVID, when you were still kind of in COVID, he's been pretty good. But then you have to start doing all these deals with yourself. If you take away 2024, and if you realize this is just the first year, but it's not the first year. It's Gus's first year. It's Tommy's first year. It's Tony White's first year. But it's Norvell's 6th year. And then, so next year is what, year 2? So then he gets a little more leeway and grace because it's year 2. But I also understand this point. Like, it is not out of the realm of possibility, Aslan, that next year they win 10 or 11 games if everybody comes back intact and they upgrade the defense with this head coach. This head coach is not allergic to 10-win seasons. He is not incapable of them. The problem with this head coach is he is also quite capable of the lowest of lows in losing to Jacksonville State amidst a 4-game losing streak, losing it, to home at Pitt, on the road at Virginia, being down 28-3 to Miami, who's good but not that good. Like, he's also capable of that. That was on his watch too. And so while I understand and appreciate the sentiment that it is the first year with these coaches, it is not his first year. And the reason it is his first year with these coaches is because the last coaching staff apparently was so bad they had the worst season in school history. That's on him too. So you don't just get to reset after every bad season you have. At some point, the bad seasons catch up with you, and you have to go a different direction. But one last thing, Aslan.
Sure.
It is not a bad season yet. I just want to reiterate that. It is not a bad season yet. We do not know how the next 6 games are going to go. There is a chance this is an 8-win, get to a bowl, and make it 9 wins season. You would not be stunned if that happened, right?
Yes, I would. I'm sorry, I would, yeah.
You would be stunned if they, let's say, lost at Clemson and then won all the rest.
Yeah. I just think Wake Forest is an eminently losable game. I think Friday night in Raleigh is going to be really tough. And I think Florida, they're probably going to be on interim coach or whatever, but yeah, I mean, that team I think will play physical. That'll be tough. Going to the Swamp. I'm not chalking that up as a loss, but I'm definitely. I'm
saying they're not.
This team,
they're not auto losses.
They're not, but the way they've looked, I mean, in some of these losses, just like, so we're going to start going into other teams' houses and just like pushing them around, or at least make that 1 or 2 extra plays that we seemingly have not been able to find a way to make.
I would say what I would push back on that a little bit, though, and I'm not pushing back on it because I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying it is likely. I'm saying there is a possibility that you finish this thing with 8 wins, whether it's 8-5 or 8-4. You finish this thing with 8 wins.
Yeah, like Mike said, they need to play their. Did he say he's confident they're going to play their best game, or they need to play their best game of the season. This Saturday, and then we'll see what happens. Like, yeah, I mean, if they look like they look like against although I don't know, it's Stanford, man. What are we really going to be?
No, you won't be able to judge it. And I don't care. Win by a point. Again, it would be awful if you barely won, but win. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, you look at the rest of the teams on the schedule. Other than Clemson, if Klubnik gets loose, you're not facing any good offenses. Like Pitt that was a high scoring offense without Desmond Reed. And then they got their best player back, and you saw it. Virginia's got a good offense. Miami is Miami. Like, they've faced 3 pretty darn good offenses, and I think 3 pretty darn good quarterbacks in a row. No law against not beating them. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that lose on Saturdays, guys. I'm not excusing the losses. I'm saying the offense has been good enough to win all these games. Maybe, again, you can take the Miami game out of that because they were horrible for 3 quarters. But I think – if the defense is going to get a break because they're not going to be playing high-caliber offenses for much of the rest of the season. Even at NC State, that is not going to be a high-caliber offense.
And NC State's coming off of they'll be coming off a road game at Miami, so they might be a little banged up.
Beat up, discouraged. And I'm saying, like, I think that if your offense can stay healthy, you're going to go score on everyone, and you're going to go put up points on everyone. And luckily, the best offenses you've faced have all been in the first half of the season. Because we didn't know at the time, your defense is clearly your weak link. You're not good defensively. I don't even know if you're average defensively, but you're certainly not good. But if you could just be average on defense and be good on offense, when you look at these 6 games coming up, they're all eminently winnable. As you rightly point out, they're all eminently losable. You can lose all of them. And if the team cashes in, if the quarterback gets hurt or can't play, if the receivers can't go, this team is absolutely beatable. I was thinking about this on the drive over to talk to Norvell. Let's say Tommy is just banged up and can't run anymore, but he's still going to be the quarterback. Deuce can't play. Squirrel can't play. Randy Pitt can't play. Well, then are you really how much more talent do you have than Stanford? Like, you have a unicorn in Deuce. That's a guy that people can't cover.
Yep.
You have a unicorn in a quarterback that is really hard to tackle when he's healthy, but he's not. So that limits his effectiveness, and he's a pedestrian quarterback. Your receivers are less than pedestrian because none of them can play. None of them have played. And then your running backs, I think we all think right now, are kind of pedestrian. So Stanford is losable if these guys aren't going to play. Now, he said Deuce practiced a little bit on Sunday. He'll see how they practice progresses throughout the week, but it sounded like he thinks Deuce would be good to go, which would be awesome. But if these guys do get healthy, man, and if you do get Pittman and Deuce and Squirrel back to go along with Danzy, Chroma, and all the other guys, your offense is going to be really hard for other teams to stop. And that's fun moving forward. So there is a chance is all I'm saying. There's a chance is all I'm saying, Aslan. There is a chance.
Finishing on the upswing. Amen, brother. Well said. All right, let's get back out there and talk to who would.
But don't lose to Stanford, Mike. Don't lose to Stanford, buddy. Please. I like you. I really do like you. Do not lose to Stanford. Or I don't know if I'll ever talk to him again.
I think
not like I would be so upset that I would be like, you don't look at me. I mean, I legitimately don't think he would have I think he'd be fired before they got home. I think he'd be fired before the plane lands.
So walk me through that real quick on the way out, because somebody commented, they're like, I'm confused after listening to the Wake Up show from Monday that they don't have money to buy out Mike Norvell, but if they were to lose to Stanford, then somehow they would. What is it about a loss to? So we're at the point where if there's like an embarrassing loss, either to a team that I guess is not really all that great.
Yes.
Or maybe if it's just a completely lopsided loss. Like, I don't know if they were, what would be worse? Like losing to Stanford 24-21 or losing to Clemson 44-3? You know, like, so what is it about?
They're both awful.
What is it about the Stanford game that makes it like unforgivable or like almost like
because
fiery?
I think you could talk yourself into these other losses. Road game Friday night against a talented offense. Miami is Miami. Pitt, their quarterback played great. You were without a bunch of receivers and a bunch of playmakers on offense. You were literally down 6 starters, and their quarterback played well. True freshman played well, made plays. You didn't. Blah blah blah. There is no way you can talk yourself out of a loss to Stanford. There's no way you can talk yourself into understanding a loss to Stanford. It would be like Penn State losing to UCLA. It's a deal breaker. And I know they didn't fire him that week, but the Northwestern on top of UCLA was the final straw. I think losing to Stanford means you're obviously not going to a bowl because you're probably going to lose it means your team is cashed out. They've cashed in. They've given up again. And there is nothing to play for, and they don't believe in you or your message, and you're done. It's just losing at Stanford is literally one of the, I would say, 5 worst Power 4 teams in the country. They're 108th or 110th in total offense, 113th in total defense. I know they beat Boston College, but Boston College I think is like probably the worst Power 4 team in the country.
They're terrible.
So. Yeah, they're really bad.
Good job, Tommy. Way to get out of there. Way to ditch those losers.
Yeah, man. See, they need Tommy. Tommy's the MVP. I would push back on that a little bit, too. I don't think I sat there and said they don't have enough money to fire Mike Norvell. I thought I made up the point that it didn't make sense I brought up the point. It didn't make sense for people to think it was one or the other. Either you spend money on players and give him a great roster, or you fire him, but you can't afford to do both. And I'm like, man, if you're willing to fire a guy and pay him $50 million to not coach, you're all in on football expenses. And you are going to pay you're going to pay for a good roster. You would not do that, and then I couldn't come up with the word skimp, and then skimp on the roster. So I don't think if I said that, I didn't mean to say it. I definitely think they can afford to fire Mike Norvell. I even wrote it in my column. Can they afford not to? And I think it would tilt to they can't afford not to if they lose to Stanford. That would be as bad a loss as Jacksonville State, probably. Like considering what is on the line, like his whole career is on the line. This season is on the line, And if they go out and lay an egg with those kind of stakes, then this is done. This is done. They've given up. They're done with you. And it's year 6, and you've lost 4 in a row. Well, sorry, 9 ACC games in a row. And that's why I think it would be like he wouldn't be coaching the team against Wake. Like I think Gus is coaching, or Tony, I don't know, or Odell. I guess Odell's on the staff. All he does is get dubs. But yeah, so that's why I think that they can't afford not to fire him at that point, because all the money dries up. All the money dries up. If you were a Bowden Society member, Aslan, let me ask you. You love Florida State. You went to Florida State. Correct. You live and die with this program. If you were a Bowden Society member and Florida State lost its 9th straight ACC game, including one at Stanford as an 18-point favorite, who is one of the worst teams in the country, and you've given all this money for the last 2 or 3 years, would you maybe not donate the following year?
Remember in Rocky 2 when he quits boxing and he turns to commercials, and he's having a really tough time with the commercials, and then the director, is like, just read off the dummy cards. And then Rocky's like, I ain't a dummy. I'm like punchy. And then the guy's like, I can't deal with you. Like, Leonard, get him off of my studio. I need a professional. And then the agent is like looking at his watch and then turns around and just like walks away because he doesn't want to be involved with it anymore. Yeah, that would be me. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm turning around. I'm walking away.
What a reference. You didn't go Rocky or Rocky 4 or even the Mr. T Rocky. You went to the you went to the little talked about Rocky 2 in a scene that most people don't even know or remember.
I love Rocky.
Well done, Aslan. Well done. It's a good one.
Yeah, it would be tough. Yeah, right. I mean, I feel bad also for the people who have to call and work and nurse and massage these relationships. Like, what do you say to them? Like, hey, just please, please don't turn the faucet off.
But I mean, why would anybody? Nobody's going to give money to a coach that just lost for the 9th straight time and lost at Stanford and has another 4-game losing streak. The faucet might have already been turned off for people, but is absolutely going to be turned off, and the plumbing's going to be ripped out if he loses at Stanford. And then at that point, I don't know how it's tenable to bring him back when there's no money coming in, or the money probably doesn't come into the program. Plus, if you lose at Stanford, you're losing maybe the rest of your games. So then you're going to follow up a 2-10 with a 3-9 or a 4-8. Awesome. And 2 of those wins were scheduled wins. So you went, you went 2-8 in 10 games. So this literally, I think he's coaching for his career, his Florida State career on Saturday. And as I've made abundantly clear, I like the guy and I hope they win. And I hope he wins. I'm not rooting for this not to happen, but it is a very, very important game.
Shout out to Crazy Seminole. He's the one that commented on that. He's been around since 2004. I don't think I've ever seen him post on the Renegade Express, which is fine, but it's just cool when you see that there's subscribers out there that are listening to the show, because I don't know how many people are subscribers at warchant.com, how many people are just like diehard Florida State fans that consume all the content they possibly can get, but we appreciate all of you. If you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing. Or just hit the thumbs up if you're listening to us on YouTube. Or subscribe to the podcast. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. We'll be back out on campus this morning talking to an assistant coach and some players. So check that out. Seminole Headlines today. It's Tuesday, you dummy, Aslan.
That's right. Yep.
You big dummy. 1 to 3 o'clock. That's going to be some good stuff. So tap in, everybody. He's Corey Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free.